I got a story to tell you about how the Ten Commandments came to be. So picture this. Moses is leading the Israelites out of Egypt and on their way to the Promised Land. But here's the thing. They're kind of lost. I mean, they just left Egypt and they don't really know where they're going. So they re-wandering around in the desert, and it is hot, and they re-thirsty, and they re-hungry, and they re-all. Hey, Moses, when are we gonna get some water? When are we gonna get some food? When are we gonna get some rest? And Moses is like, I don't know, guys. God will provide. Meanwhile, God is over in the mountain like, hey, Moses, come up here. I got a quick chat. And Moses is like, hold up, God. I'm kind of busy right now. People are getting a little bit restless. You know, I can't get them to chill out. They're not listening to me. Can't it just wait till later? And God's like, no, you gotta do this right now. And God brings Moses into the mountain, and there's like a total paradigm shift that happens here. God says to Moses, you have seen what I have done to the Egyptians. I am the Lord your God. Therefore, you must not bow down to their idols, or worship them, or follow their practices. Keep my Sabbaths holy. This is a sign between me and you throughout your generations after me, that you may know that I am the Lord who heals you. And God said to Moses, write these words down for future generations, so they, along with you, will fear me and won't turn away from following me. And then, boom, the Ten Commandments show up like magic, and Moses is writing them down. And I gotta tell you, nobody knows exactly what happened in that moment. Maybe it was like an epic rap battle between God and Satan for the fate of humanity. Or maybe it was more like a heartfelt conversation between God and Moses about where they both want the relationship between God and humanity to be in the future. But whatever went down, the result was the Ten Commandments, which are still relevant today. But let's talk about why they're important. Because if you read Exodus chapter 20, verses 1 through 3, you will see that God tells Moses, he says, tell the Israelites the 10 sayings that I have made known to you. Take them as a lasting ordinance for you and your future generations. So why are the 10 Commandments important? Well, they're important because they're the foundation of our faith. Like the Bible tells us that Jesus himself said that the greatest commandment is to love God with all your heart, soul, and strength, and the second one is to love your neighbor as yourself. And you can find both of those commandments right here in the middle of the 10 Commandments. Not only that, but the 10 Commandments were given not just to Moses, but to the Israelites, and through the Israelites, God's commands and laws were supposed to spread to the whole world. In fact, if you look at Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 6 through 8, Moses says to the Israelites, keep them therefore, the commands, decrees, and laws I am giving you today. Write them down so that you may keep them carefully. They are your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations, who will hear all these commands and say the people who live there are surely a people living under the law. Surely this God is a God who requires justice. So not only are the 10 Commandments important because they're the foundation of our faith, they're also important because they reveal something about God. In Exodus chapter 20, after God finished giving the 10 Commandments, a thick cloud covered the tent of meeting. And when the cloud lifted, behold, the Israelites were in their sight like lightning and like thunder. Then the Lord said to Moses, this is the sound you are to use when you approach God. While they were speaking to him, you shall say, thus you shall speak to the children of Israel. The point here is that when we follow the 10 Commandments, when we live according to the 10 Commandments, God sees us as holy. In fact, the 10 Commandments were originally called the Decalogue, or the 10 Words, and the first 5 are called the Law of Moses, or the Law of God. And those first 5 have to do with our relationship with God, and the last 5 have to do with our relationships with other people. And all 10 of them combined help us to become more Christ-like. In other words, the 10 Commandments are supposed to mold us into people who are holy like God. So in light of that, Let's make sure that we take the time to learn them, to memorize them, to post them up on our walls, to put them in our phones, to write them on our mirror, to set them as our screensaver on our computer. And let's strive to live lives that honor God and bring glory to His name. Well, hey, thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, smash that like button, subscribe to this channel, and watch again. See you next time.